There is no way in hell you can remotely convince me that a black man shoots a white kid in the head and while he's laying down, shoots him in the chest and, oh, yeah, we'll bring him in and then he walks free. There is no way that happens. The only reason this man is charged today is because this story has gone national and folks have been protesting in that neighborhood.
You're absolutely correct, Roland Martin. It was the national outrage, the advocacy on Attorney Merritt and our legal teams like bombarding the prosecutor, having people call them and say, how is it acceptable that a black 17-year-old presses the doorbell and the white owner of the home shoot him in the head and then shoots him a second time, as you said, Roland, while he's on the ground and had his arm not been there, we might not be talking about a miracle that saved Ralph Eurell's life. And so this is asinine for them to even hold it. A white person feels threatened because, you know, they always talk about stand your ground and counsel doctrine. And the final point I think is germane here, Roland Martin, is it harkens back to Trayvon, where his killer got to sleep in his bed at night. And even closer to present, Ahmaud Arbery, where they saw the video. The police saw the video and still accepted the white shooter's word for it and let them go home and sleep in their beds. So we know it's nothing new. What they're doing is two justice systems in America, one for black America and another for white America.
Ben, this reminds 18-year-old Brennan Walker was shot by Jeffrey Ziegler, a retired firefighter, after Walker missed the bus and knocked on Ziegler's door. Ziegler only received 10 years in prison for assault with an attempt to commit murder. They actually, earlier this year, granted him parole from prison. I mean, again, this is, so these folks, again, no threat. It's not like Yarl, or even in the case where Ziegler, he wasn't sitting here trying to steal anything. These folks come out of their house, shoot first. And you saw the video we're playing right there where Ziegler comes out with a shotgun, and it's only because that kid is only alive. Brennan Walker is only alive because he took off running. This guy fires his gun at him down the street. And in this case, involving Yarl, he's just at the door. No threat whatsoever. This guy fired first, asked questions.
Now for 20 years, because you always cover these matters, and I love how you remind us of the historical nature of it, since they're trying to outlaw teaching black history in the schools. We got to have programs that remind us about the past black history and the not so past black history, because all of it is relevant. Because if we forget about Trayvon, we forget about Ahmaud Arbery, we forget about Ziegler shooting at that young man in Michigan, then they act like, well, this is novel. This is something new, and we can justify this Andrew Lester shooting 16-year-old Ralph Eurell in the head because he felt in fear of his life. No, that was the impetus for Black Lives Matter when they said it with Trayvon Martin and got away with it. And so we can never let them get away with this again.
And of course, Ben, to listen to the police chief say, oh, we had to wait to get a statement from the victim. He was almost killed.
Yeah. And Roland, what's so asinine about that is if he would have died, are you telling me you could have not arrested the shooter because you couldn't take a statement from him? It's ludicrous. They want us to believe that, well, I can't say what they want us to believe, Roland, but it is asinine.
Yeah. It's just absolutely crazy. And again, these things, they happen over and over and over again. Ben, the GoFundMe originally was $750,000. Just so, what's the latest on Yarl's condition?
You know, Roland, we just talked to President Biden less than 35 minutes ago, right before the DA came and announced his charges. And, obviously he's going to miss a lot of time from school, but this is a brilliant young man. I mean, just even though he's talking slow, just to hear him interact with President Biden, you can tell that this young man is a miracle. He's a honor roll student at the top of his class. He plays the clarinet. He wants to be a computer engineer. Engineer, a mechanical engineer, and he has his whole future ahead of him. It was nothing but the grace of God how this young man is living after being shot in the head. And so it was appropriate for the prosecutor to charge him. And the only tragedy was that it took so long for them to charge him. But keep him in your prayers. He's not out the woods yet. And we know his medical bills are going to be astronomical.
Again, so you're saying about 40 minutes ago, President Biden, he did talk to Ralph Yarl and his family, Ralph is able to talk?
Ralph was able to talk and try to answer his questions best he could, but even in a slow, slurred voice, you heard how brilliant Ralph Yarl was. He is an exceptional young person.
All right. And so, Ben, first of all, that phone call, how long was the phone call with President Biden?
I don't even know if the White House has put it out yet that President Biden talked to him, his mother, his aunt, and Ralph, and other people were in the room.
And so the president phoned the family, talked with Ralph Yarl and his